Good morning. Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, XRP, some dominances for XRP, and the Sigma coin. So, all right. So let's jump into Bitcoin here. We haven't looked at this in a while, and I just wanted to work on this breakdown of what we were looking at for price action and what we kind of expect to happen here going forward. So, starting off with the completion of our wedge that worked its way up to the high here, we now have a corrective breakdown that has been playing out ever since. So I'm going to walk you through this and just kind of show you how this second portion of the leg is going to happen and how I suspect that's going to impact XRP along the way. So all right, so starting with just the count, let's just kind of look in this and see what we were expecting. So we have a 5-wave move to the downside, okay, completion with this final 5th wave having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves right there. So that's how we know that's where it ended. It was at that spot. Then we can have an A, B, C, where the B leg actually goes below the origin of wave 5. So this is sometimes common at the end of moves, and you can tell by how direct and impulsive this was for this ABC, okay? Then we had a lot of choppiness, and we completed another leg, and that choppiness made us recognize we were in correction territory. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. Now, in a perfect world or a beautiful world of simplicity, we just complete an ABC. We're done right there on that spot. We don't even see this stuff to the right, and that was it. That was our correction, right? Actually, it would be over here, sorry. And so we would have gotten over to this spot right here, and we are done with the pullback on Bitcoin, and we don't have to worry about this anymore. Now we can reverse and head to the upside, okay? But we didn't do that. So from this point forward, we then ended up having a very choppy W move, XY move to the upside because it was complex. We had a whole bunch of crossover through here. This actually set up an A leg, and when we swept below and lost the low right here, it confirmed this larger W here in green, X and Y structure that we ended up having play out here, okay? So the good news is that the next corrective move is actually going to move us up to the upside, and we're going to see the impulse of this being a 5, 3, 5 wave, right? So this would be roughly, even though it's a WXY labeled here, if I move it out of the way, you can kind of see like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's like it's got a corrective whole move, but maybe we justify this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So it's more of a WXYZ for this A leg than it is a 5-wave move. But this guy should be impulsive. So the question is, where are we going to see this impulsive leg kind of move and close out? So now I'm just going to move this portion of it, but we may get, like a small kind of move, sweep up that direction. It may even be a tiny one where we only get up to here, something like that. But with these volume gaps and all of this liquidity and the ability to wrong foot the market, getting back up into these moving averages that move through here in this region, coupled with there's a 21-day moving average that crosses over right here. And also there's a gap, right? So we have this range back up to 116. If we go to the Bitcoin gap, we have a 116, 117 CME gap here on the price target. So like this gap right here overlays with a moving average, and this one takes us all the way back up to 117. So we could have like a really explosive move up to 117, even potentially clearing this area over here, of making everyone think this was it, we've done it, we're back up into this region. Maybe it comes up just short right there at like one, yeah, right there. Comes up short of this level, comes up right to it, and then rejects again, right? Really wrong footing a lot of market participants who are top blasting and getting leverage in here before we have another corrective down. So this could take us easily up to the Fed meeting, right? So you can have this impulsive move through the weekend, right? So here's your low liquidity weekend with Monday being a holiday. Just what goes up and just wrecks everybody to the Deva short, and then wrecks everybody who flips along back down again on Bitcoin, pushing us down into this 0.5 fib, and we can even technically go lower down into this 618 fib down here. So anyway, but the fact that it's been so controlled makes me think we'll come up shorter here at this level, and we'll end up clearing this. So basically, then this would lead us up to the Fed meeting, right? So maybe it's that angle of descent, and we end up having something a little bit more Fed meeting-y, where we get out here like that, and it just lasts for a while. Yeah, there you go, 16th. That'd be cool. So we just tank all the way to the Fed meeting. Fed says everything, boom, we're out of here, and we end up having our nice beautiful move to the upside. So really the importance of, and a lot of complexity that we're dealing with these different types of corrections is we're looking to see, what is the, where did we change our directions on where this correction got bigger and more complex? And it was right here. This is where we had our ABC. This is where the magic was supposed to happen. We were supposed to break out here, and then this loss of the level yesterday resulted in the recognizing that we are now doing a larger ABC correction for the W leg, and then that is going to then lead to a sister leg of another ABC down. And that's why these can get so complex and so expanded, is because you move beyond a normal ABC thinking you're having fun, and then you're not. So, but yeah, so something out to the Fed meeting would make perfect sense to de-risk into that, not knowing what the Fed is going to do. So maybe there'll be some economic reports that come out, but really it's going to be the low liquidity weekend that's going to spike everybody to the upside. So, and that matches the volume profile gap. So now we jump over to XRP. Okay, so a lot of questions on what XRP is doing, and it's, having a good time over here, flopping along the lows. So we have our normal triangle, right? So we've been watching this triangle thinking, okay, we've got the expectation that we had an ABC down, ABC up, ABC down, and then this was going to be an impulsive move to the upside. We were looking right in this region and we rejected. Okay, now not really able to do this triangle much anymore, right? Because of the fact that we didn't have an impulsive ABC to the upside, and we're now rolling over and breaking down. You can deviate outside of this triangle, so maybe we have something where it's like a ABC up, ABC down, and this was maybe just a truncated D and E wave, right? We can maybe do something like this, but we're already crossing underneath this trend line, and we're losing these levels fully right here on XRP. So this now switches us back, ironically, to what we were always expecting, which was this larger WABC move down into these low levels. And with that, I was thinking, we can technically go as low as that's the wrong one, but we can go as low as down here at this 252 for the measured move of this ABC. So ironically, we were always looking for this. We had actually traded the short down this direction, got stopped out when it spiked up, shorted again, came back up, and then just all this whipsaw has been just wrecking everybody on the market and the charts. So now with the current price action, so now with what we are doing here, though, we may be doing this with like a controlled falling wedge. I mean, of how it's just kind of stepping its way down here. So we may actually have a spike up to the top of the range first and move back into this liquidity region to go along with our Bitcoin price action, where we're expecting Bitcoin to pop its way out of here over the weekend, right? And we have the short squeeze that pushes everybody up this direction. So that's the expectation. We'll see what we get. Right now, we are setting a higher low on the price action. And if we go super zoomed in, like on a 5-minute, we can actually see that we have an impulsive wave count to match that kind of price action, where we would see, there we go, a 5-wave move coming off the lows for our, where this did not cross, right? And you have an impulsive 5 waves. And then you have a larger ABC coming off of the lows here, where we go A, B, C. And let's change that. And we're going to go yellow and minor. There you go. So let's throw the line in there too, just so you can see it. So there's your ABC. So obviously if we hold this level above and we set a higher low, this could indicate that we're continuing this move to the upside, and how we do it will be interesting. So zooming back out to the structures, this is either going to be a continuation of that triangle, and we do a large A, B, C move for this triangle, just really messing everybody, doing a small deviation, and it'd be crazy to get back up to the top of the range and then wreck it again. Or we go to our other scenario where we continue and complete the zigzag falling wedge of a larger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC move to the downside that could last us through, again, the weekend, right? So maybe it's something like that, and we move down here like that, so it could take all the way into the coming week as we spike up with Bitcoin, and then we fall again with the overall market. So, all right, so that's how we're looking at XRP. Now, what makes me think that we're going to definitely move up to this, or very likely move up to this fourth wave in this scenario, or if we even have the continuation of the triangle, we get back into it and range back up here, is the VLO data, okay? What is going on with the VLO data? Well, massive open interest had been opened since the breakdown that happened yesterday. Just huge amount, right? Just so many people showed up and were like, yeah, what are we doing? This is crazy. I'm going to open up some contracts. So a ton of open interest manifested. It's still going up as the price action is still falling, right? So we actually have a deviation of price action falling now, and we have a move to the upside of the open interest. But what is it that's there? Well, it's shorts. You can see it. We've got the red. And very often when these red levels show up right here and they spike back this direction, you have a reversal in the price action. So this falling wedge narrative would be perfect to play out, where we end up having this move back up to the top of the range level here within this wedge. And we can do that, depending on how aggressive and how quick it happens, it can be up in this region. And then we fall again and finish out that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the downside, landing us somewhere in this region here at the 0.5, the 786, even as low as 252. So that's basically what's changed. Was this whipsaw behavior here made a huge impact on everything. So now I know this is gonna be a long video, so let's jump over to more details that kind of show us what we're expecting. So we have the Bitcoin over XRP over Bitcoin structure here. And we're watching for this little bit of volume gap here to be taken back out, and it looks like we're getting pretty close to it. So we're looking for we're looking for the 5-wave move to the downside to get into this gap and kind of finish closing it. And we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's a little tiny ABC here that I'm tracking at this point for this triangle, where we do this ABC right there for that little bit of that move. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this fifth hopefully will roll over, or we've got something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is a 2, and then we got a 3, 4, and 5 to finish out down this direction. So I think we're getting close. I think this gap's going to close. This will take us down to the bottom of the triangle, completing our E leg for XRP over Bitcoin, giving us the larger triangle structure and allowing us to then move out of here and again break out to the upside off of those lows, and away we go. So that would mean XRP would outperform Bitcoin when it wraps everything up. Dominance wise, we've been still watching this. Hasn't been invalidated yet, because I could justify this still as 5 waves, but this slow grind down for possibly an ABC, as long as we hold this higher low, we're in good shape. But I have been cognizant and watching that, as with XRP over the entire crypto market, there's this chance of this final leg down here closing this gap, and we've had this question mark floating here since back over here, right back in this region. So this would ultimately check out to a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this would be our 5th wave rolling over and getting this gap close for XRP, underperforming the overall market again until magic happens, right? So definitely some interesting setups here on XRP overall. So long story short, XRP will outperform, and with that we will have price action go up. But until then, we just have to kind of mess around and continue this journey of what is it that we're doing. And it really ultimately looks like we're going to do this falling wedge pattern. So, but up is probably in the cards before anything else through this weekend. So now jumping over to the Sigma coin, we're still just grinding, right? So with all this, it's just taking it like a champ. So we've maintained a 5-wave move off the lows. We've got our first leg of an A, B, and now the question is, will this little guy right here turn into something different? I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if this higher lows start manifesting here, and we can actually see this turn around and move up on that little time frame there, that would be the completion of our ABC. But just like everything else, if we end up seeing a larger macro WXY, then this would be an A leg, a B leg, and then a C leg coming back down again, and that would be a larger WXY setting a new low somewhere in this region. And that's what could happen at any time. But as of right now, it looks like it's just an ABC at this point. So we'll see how price action reacts off the lows here. If we have a nice impulsive breakout and we definitely clear this level, oh yeah, we're going, guys. And this checks with our Cardano price action There's your break off the lows right here, and then you kind of take it back with this pullback, and that would align with the super very low time frame price action for Sigma. There we go. So off of these lows, we had this bounce, and we've taken most of it back, and that would align with this region right in here before we start continually marching higher. So I want to see some really, really impulsive moves off the lows here pretty soon, and that would be wonderful to see that price action push out of here so we can get this party started. So hopefully that was helpful and long, and I apologize for all that, but I think it was definitely a good insight to how the setups play. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk tomorrow.